Fun.
Welcome everyone to our LinkedIn Live today. I am here with Katie Allen, style coach. We have been in each other's networks for a while, and I am so excited to be doing this with her today. We are going to be talking about redefining our confidence and the impact of personal style on success. So excited to
Mhm.
be doing this with you today, Katie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Lori. Me too. I'm super excited. A little bit about myself. Isn't that the hardest question in the world to
Sometimes,
answer?
right?
I am obsessed with, well, I don't even like the word fashion. I like to use the word style because it's really just a reflection of what's going on in the world and what's going on in our lives. So for me, it's really around like the human psychology of it that I think is so juicy. I actually went to school for fashion in 1999. I always joke, I was like, it's before the internet. And because it was before the internet, I live in Virginia. I got into marketing because I wasn't ready to move to New York City because I had met the love of my life. And we started a family. So now that the internet is up and running and alive, so am I. And I have a virtual online styling business that I started in 2020.
Awesome. I love it. Um, so today we're going to be delving into this topic that you're so passionate about, along with confidence, which I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about. So I'm glad we were able to connect around this
So good.
important topic that sometimes I think people get like consumed by one or the other, and they don't realize that they're very interconnected.
Yes.
I hear a lot of the time, for example, that people feel like they have to dress a certain way to communicate executive presence or
Mm.
to communicate professionalism, for example. But our demeanor
Yes.
is one of the biggest factors, our nonverbal cues, right? Our confidence that we put out there that can be a part of our style is
Yes.
what enables us or disables us from communicating leadership traits. And so if we take a more holistic view of what fashion can do for us and what how we show up can do for us, then we're better able to practically apply tactics and tips and strategies with fashion and our presence that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Yes. Oh God, I could just like kiss your face right now. Like the nonverbal cues, the way that we stand. There's so many things that go into it. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin. But I tell people all the time, also, like, if you want to wear something more casual, like that's really your leadership style. And you're like battling that fine line between like what's professional and like what really resonates with me. There's so many ways to navigate that. And something I've been talking to a lot with clients recently is like our hairstyles. We can dress one way that's seen as typically casual, but then have a hairstyle that just feels a different, like it has a different vibe than our outfit, and we can totally exude a completely different vibe, or vice versa. And
Yeah.
I just think there's so many different ways. Hairstyle is just one example. You know, it could be makeup, it could be accessories, like you said, the nonverbal things. But a lot of times when we think of, or things that people say to me is like, I want to be professional, but I don't want to wear a blazer. Like I
Right.
hear that every day.
Yeah, yeah, so true. I'm one of the people, I have a really classic style and I feel really powerful whenever I dress more formally. And so I own that and it works for me. But some
Mhm.
people like their jeans and a t-shirt every
Yeah.
day and they feel like they're trying to be someone they're not if they dress the way that I enjoy dressing that feels genuine to who I am. And so knowing what your values are
Yes.
and knowing how you feel most yourself is super essential so you're not like constantly experiencing that imposter syndrome. By the way, if you are getting on right now, please pop in the comments where you are from. Hey Molly, good to see you. Um, I'm gonna show this here on the screen real quick.
Oh,
Hey
I'm
there,
learning
confidence
so
empowerment
much from this
besties.
LinkedIn Live. We can show comments.
Yes, amazing. Can't hear to hear your conversation today. Amazing. Thanks so much, Molly. So pop in the comments, everyone, where you're from, what you hope to glean from today. Feel free to ask questions as well. We are going to be going to the 30-minute mark. So we're happy to answer any questions that you put in the comments and kind of lead the conversation from there as well. And if you are watching the replay, feel free to comment on the post and we will do our best to answer the questions after that.
Yeah.
So I just lost my train of thought as we were talking about. But awesome, Michelle from Germany, currently in Virginia. Wonderful.
I'm in Virginia.
Welcome
Michelle.
to the States.
Yeah.
So we were discussing confidence, how we can own our style while being genuine to who we are. Yes. So tell us a little bit about how you, like, tips and tricks that you would coach someone through to help them own who they are, like, and be their genuine selves with their style and fashion.
Yeah, of course. Well, you kind of nailed it. And one of my favorite exercises that you just mentioned were values. Values are so important. And like when we say values, it's like, oh, what do I value? A lot of times it can be misconstrued, but like if you have not sat down and picked like your top 3 values, I remember that was one of the first business exercises that I ever did when I started my podcast in 2019, before I even decided that I wanted to get back into styling and fashion. And it just changes everything, because every decision you make can come from that space. And confidence, right? So I want to just peel it back one more second. And I do this with a lot of my clients. And if you've ever been in a presentation with me, you might have heard this before, but I always like to pause and be like, I love the word confidence, but it's one of those words that we use so much that I don't even think we pause to think, what does confidence mean? And like, what does it mean to me? Yeah. And when we get really confident around building a personal style, it's really about that pause. So it's about pausing. The definition of confidence, for anyone who's wondering, one of the definitions is being in a state of certainty. And as people, like, that's the one thing we crave. And it's the one thing that we actually can never really have, right? Because life is so uncertain all the time, whether it's like, is my toast going to burn today, to like anything, right? Good and bad. It's just fluid. And I think as people, that's something that we are constantly grasping on. So using your personal style to build your confidence, I think, is an easy way to ground in, to help with that imposter syndrome. And it does go back to your values. Like, what are those top of values? So like for me, fun is always a big one. Connection is a big one. So when you were like, comment, I was like, yes, like, let's comment, let's connect. I hate surface level conversations. Like, to know me is to go deep. Like, let's just jump off the deep end and like just go right there. So that's everything I do comes from that. So we'll take fun, for example. If someone comes to me and they say, fun is one of my values, friendship is a value, and trust is a value of mine, right? Mm-hmm. Now that means different things to different people. And this is where I like to get into that psychology of like, okay, what does fun mean to you? Yeah. Is fun reading a book, or is fun jumping out of an airplane? Because now those have 2 totally different things, but that will help us kind of understand your style, right? Because like you're like, ooh, for me it's really classic, so fun can mean something totally different to you. And it's just around interpreting those like larger words, that those blanket words or values. I'm like, okay, so fun is a value for you. So for me, fun's a value, but it's really humor, so it's playful. So my style always has to have an element of playfulness. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pause in case you have some questions, or if somebody wants to go and like a little deeper or throw up a different word, and we can kind of like, thought process through that. Yeah. Molly, I'm so glad you love it. Certainty is the star that guides my journey to answer who I am and what I want. Yeah, the more certainty we can create around whatever goal that we have, the easier it is to kind of get there, right? Yes. But it's not jumping out of an airplane for you. Like our conversations are not like that. Yeah, it's completely different for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's definitely on my bucket list to go to
do like hang gliding, to jump out of an airplane, skydiving, like all of those things. I love the adrenaline rush. But for some people, excitement looks completely different. And so defining those values, defining what's super important to you, not just the word, but what that
Yes.
actually looks like, enables you to create that clarity so you know what steps to take to get where you want to go.
Yes.
If you want to get better at a certain skill, or maybe you want to overcome your fear and be able to jump out of an airplane, for example, right? Then you have to expose yourself to, situations that are a little bit more scary, a little bit more scary.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go into one of those, I can't remember what they're called, but like though, like you go into a tube and the air
Oh, like the
wind is so
iFly
high.
simulator?
What was that?
The iFly simulator?
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of, get into that type of mindset, like, oh, I'm actually doing this, but in like a less severe situation. So, yeah, with whatever it is you have in mind, taking those steps along the way to get there,
Mhm.
and so you know what it looks like in detail, enables you to know what steps to take in the first place.
Yes. And if you came to me and said you were looking for that adrenaline rush in your outfit, then I'd be like, okay, we're gonna push the limits and get you
Yes.
out of your comfort zone a little bit. And so you translate it in so many different ways. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the thing around the personal style that's really fun for building confidence is, I was just talking to someone else about this morning, is challenge yourself with your style as like the mirror of where else you might be holding yourself back. Because you can say like, oh my God, this is the year I'm going to take risks in my business. This is the year I'm going to do the things, but you're not willing to take those risks with what you wear. And I use that as an example because we have to get dressed every day. Like every day, that one of the first major decisions you're making of the day is, what am I going to wear? Or am I even going to take a shower today? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sets the tone for the whole day. And I think it's one of the first decisions you make. It's an easy entry point, and there's no wrong or right way. And I know people want me to give them all the book and like give me the tips, and we can do that, but I don't subscribe to that because there's no wrong or right way. Because again, what's taking risks to you might not be taking risks to someone else. And what
Mm-hmm.
feels luxurious to someone isn't luxurious to someone else. So if someone's like, oh, I want to feel like Cleopatra today because that's the energy. I have so many fun analogies I could just shoot off the hip on Lori, so you just reel me back in. So if someone comes to me and they say that, then I'm like, my mind immediately goes to like the arm cuff and bangles and gold and like real heavy adornment and real big eyeliner. Theirs might just go to, I want to be sitting up on a couch with really comfortable fabric. So it's really around the fabrics that they're putting on their body. So it's really juicy. And when we let ourselves like pause and get into that certainty and for ourselves in that moment, it just really gives that lens of like where you can see those holes and you can work on the confidence and you can work on the
Yeah.
self-development. Because to me, that's how I battle the imposter syndrome is, okay, I'm really scared to do this. Why am I so scared to do this? And then instead of like obsessing over that situation, which of course I'm good at that, but trying to get better at not, I try to take it to something that doesn't feel as, the stakes aren't as high. Like my outfit, the stakes aren't as high. Yes, I believe they can make or break your day, but the stakes aren't as high of like, how is this going to impact my business or my health or
Mm-hmm.
other things in this moment? If I wear this red shirt, no one's going to die.
Right. Right. And knowing what what that like turns out for you. So, when you say you love glitter, does that mean, a creamy like champagne eye look, or is that a sequin shirt?
Yes.
Right? Completely different vibe. And so knowing what that really looks like for you in detail can be super empowering.
Yes.
So one of the things that I go through with my clients is that values assessment, because then they know where some of those values might have been demeaned. For
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
example, if someone's constantly been told, oh, you have to wear makeup to be successful. Oh, you have to dress a certain way to be successful. Or you can't do this, you can't do that. And so frequently, those beliefs are placed upon us by other people based on their experiences and beliefs. And
Yes.
so, if we can separate those things from who we are and instead label them as, oh, I learned that from this person or this experience, and then we can separate ourselves from that and instead place our own values in a in replacement of what it was that was holding us back in those limiting beliefs, because we can exist in what seems to be contrary ideas or contrary states of being, right? We can be a leader and dress femininely.
Mm-hmm.
we it doesn't have to be a black suit and tie, right? That so for so long, when men were in the majority and still are in the majority of leadership positions, like that's what bias tells us, that's what leadership looks like. But
Yes.
if we're going to be our genuine self and lead like our genuine selves and not feel that imposter syndrome creep up, then we have to dress genuine to who we are, and we have to show up as genuine to who we are, even if the world might tell us that's not what leadership looks like. Empathy isn't what leadership looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing pink isn't what leadership looks like whatever it might be.
Yes.
Like, stop limiting yourself based on what other people's beliefs and what they placed upon you, rather
Yeah.
than knowing yourself, owning your power, owning who you are. And people are going to sense that when you own who you are. People can sense a lack of authenticity and true authenticity.
I,
And when you start being yourself more, you will come across as more confident, you'll come across as more capable, and as a result, people will start treating you as more confident and more capable. And you start this confidence loop where, okay, I
so,
had a really great morning, I did a really great run, so I'm feeling really prepped for the day, I've got, endorphins in my system, and as a result, you're really clear-minded, you make a great comment in a meeting, and then people agree with that comment, and they're like, wow, that was so insightful, thank you so much for sharing. And then your boss says, hey, I really loved your insights in our meeting yesterday. I'm going to make you lead on that new project. So then the confidence loop just keeps growing. And now
yeah.
you're in a position of power, and people continue to treat you as more competent and more capable. And it just creates this exponential growth of confidence. So do what's within your power to feel confident and capable. And it'll just exponentially grow as a natural result. It just becomes a self fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. I love that confidence loop. I don't think I've ever heard anyone phrase it like that. That's amazing. And I love everything you said. And I think that's the key to building that certainty is, and I do this like with when we're building out brands. It's like if you're dressing for your brand voice, which essentially is a lot of times in alignment with our values for small business entrepreneurs, which is who I mostly hang out with. It's what would someone expect from this brand, from this voice, this, whatever this value is, and is that a yes or a no for you? And if you don't know, like, because I tell people this all the time, like, the cool thing about knowing the rules is that when we break the rules, we're really confident in breaking the rules. But if we feel like we're just breaking the rules because we don't know something, then I feel like that's where the imposter syndrome comes up, right? Because if I come on here and someone's like, oh, doing a live and you should do it this way and you should do it that way. And I'm like, oh crap. But I want to do it this way because this is what aligns with my brands. And I want to wear bright pink and I want to wear bright colors because that aligns with my values and my brand. That feels so much less impostery than getting on here and being like, okay, I should wear this button down shirt because we're going to talk about success and leadership and being a powerful executive and X, Y, and Z. And I think there's so much freedom in that. But it's that certainty of like, you have to know for certain that that's not your belief. So picking them apart like that is key. And I think it's those like background or like those background programs that are running behind the scenes that trip us up more. And we're like, God, why am I so like feel this way? Because I know I'm this and I know I'm this and I know I'm this.
Yes, so, so true. Yeah, when we show up trying to be someone that we're not, then we're naturally going to feel like we're
Mm-hmm.
pretending to be someone that we don't feel who we really are. And
Yes.
we have to get out of our comfort zone to a certain extent to grow in whatever way that we want to and need to. But before you try and go for those goals, being clear on who you are helps you to know, okay, I'm comfortable making these changes. I'm not comfortable making these changes,
Mm-hmm.
because making X changes makes me feel like that's like it just doesn't feel in line with who I am genuinely. But making these changes, okay, that makes sense. I can see how that will help me achieve whatever goal that I'm going for, and as a result, then I'll show up differently.
Yes.
And choosing what things to change and knowing which ones is
Mm-hmm.
really important to be able to genuinely show up and be authentic to who you are. To we can't just read articles online and be like, oh, okay, that's what executive presence looks like.
Yeah.
That's what good style looks like.
Yep.
When it's not about what looks good or what just other people have done research on. Well, I everything that I do is backed up by scientific evidence, and everything I teach is, because there's so much material that I use, I'm able to advise people, these are all of the cues that look like confidence. This is
Mm-hmm.
what people view as competent, as capable. Now, let's talk a little bit about what each of these pieces and what feels genuine to who you are and what it is you're willing to change that feels feels like confidence to you.
Yeah.
And when it does feel like confidence to you, then you'll start to exude that and people will feel it as a result. And people take cues and how confident they should feel in us directly from us.
Yes. Not your outfit. But
Yeah,
if your outfit makes you uncomfortable, the cue you will give off
yes,
is I'm not confident.
exactly.
So that's its own feedback loop and its own confidence loop. And I tell people
Yes.
that all the time. I love that you said like here are the cues that people associate. And that's kind of like that game that I play is like this is what people expect. When someone tells me that they're this, and this, these are the article of clothing as a society that we have said represents this, and our brain's job is to be efficient, right? So my brain is like, okay, if someone wears red, that's a power color. Okay, locked and loaded. I know this now. So if you show up to the meeting and you don't have on red, your other cues for the confidence or power better be coming through strong because my brain is looking for the most efficient way to make a meaning out of what you're saying, how this meeting is going. And I'd like to use the words meaning making machine. I got that from another one of my podcast friends instead of judgment. Because I feel like the judgment comes up a lot in the fashion world or when we talk about clothes. Like, well, people are going to judge me if I wear this or if I look a certain way. Let's remove them judging you for looking a certain way. What they're really doing is their brain is looking for the fastest way to make meaning around what you're wearing represents. And if you're not 100% comfortable with it, or if your cues don't match that, they're going to be confused. You're going to be confused. And that's why we're so good at sniffing out the authenticity because it's not in alignment.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we are about out of time. Is there anything else you wanted to share with the listeners today before we part?
Yes, I mean, I have to share an actionable style tip because I love theory and stuff, but I mean, sometimes we just have to take action to get into it to know what we love and what we don't love. So, obviously, the action, if you haven't done the work in getting with your values, is get with that. Think of the brand voice or the style. I think personal brand is still very much something to lean into, whether you're in corporate or an entrepreneur, because we're all like walking, talking version billboard of ourselves all the time. But it's my action step to that is I always have my clients do fun exercises on Pinterest. I know. Go dust your Pinterest boards off. It's the fun social media because no one's judging you. No one's out there looking at what you're posting. And I
Right.
would tell everybody, I'm like, set up just a 10-minute timer, and I want you to blindly like make a board, and I want you to blindly save things that you love. Because if you're like, I'm so disconnected from my personal style, maybe I've had a career change or a lifestyle change, I've gotten divorced, I've had kids, whatever that is. I love this exercise for that. You just like blindly save the things that genuinely make you feel happy or give you that feeling. Don't look at them. But when that timer goes off, go back and look at them and start to look for those patterns. Start to look for, maybe it's a certain type of top. Maybe it's a color. Maybe it's a pattern. Maybe there's a lot of flowers. Maybe there's all this. We do this quarterly inside of my style squad. And everyone's always like, oh my God, I didn't realize this. And the reason I do like to do this, one, it's a really fun exercise into who we are. But the reason I like to repeat it is you're also allowed to change, and you're also allowed to like new things. So when you check in and you do something like this repeatedly, we can see where we've evolved, because every day we're learning something. I've learned so many things by being on this LinkedIn Live. I'm like, oh, you can put comments like that. Little things like that constantly are changing who we are and how we're thinking and how we're showing up confidently.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite like practical tip, where this is how we can lean into our style, but you get to really see your personality shine through without me putting you in a box or anybody putting you in a box.
Yeah. I love that. Just take what like instinctively makes you happy instead of overthinking it.
Yes.
Some of my best brainstorming tips is like, we're not judging what ideas are here yet. Like, just
No.
put your ideas on paper. You're not saying but or and or just making any assessment on what it is. You're just using your instinct and putting ideas out there, and you'll and as a result, you'll have so many more. I don't know, you'll just be so much more in alignment with whatever problem you're trying to solve, because
Yeah.
you've chosen things that immediately resonate with you.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And it's such a good way to build confidence, right? It's like just trusting yourself that
Yeah.
you know what you like.
So true. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me, Katie. For those of you who are interested in advancing your career, building your confidence, I am offering free 1-hour confidence coaching sessions for any woman who is wanting to advance their career, whether you're in your job search or wanting internal advancement, or just looking for more work-life balance, if you want to save time, all of those different aspects of our work. If you are interested in expanding your power, if you want to improve your job search, get more interviews, all of those aspects, if you are interested in that, pop in the comments career and I will reach out to you so we can schedule that 1-hour free confidence coaching session. Katie, anything else you want to share last minute? Anything you're offering potential clients right now?
Yes, I'm same. I always do style consults as well. If anyone wants to hop on the phone and kind of talk through what that looks like for them. And if you're new to this and you're like, I don't know what my style personality is or what I even like, I have a style personality quiz. It's interactive. It takes like less than 5 minutes, but you will get back how to start to frame up your style, a mood board that's dialed in specifically to whatever your answers were, to kind of jumpstart. I call it the closet Kickstarter, to jumpstart that process a little bit. That link is in my top of my LinkedIn profile. So you
I
can
love it. Amazing. Well, thank you once again, Katie, for joining me today. And thank you for everyone who joined us and for everyone's comments. Yes, trust yourself and you will go so far, Laura. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure once again, Katie. And please follow us on LinkedIn for tips and strategies on confidence and style. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you all on LinkedIn. Bye.
Bye.